On my sweet children. My name's Nick Sean. I've been trading about 7 years. 5 of those years have been profitable, and I made millions trading Forex, crypto, and stocks. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I do my Sunday pre-market analysis. It's insanely simple. It's probably so simple, you're probably going to be a little bit baffled at how some bald dude standing in the middle of this room with a microphone and these big lights shining in his face and a camera slider going back and forth to keep your attention is somehow able to do this with barely doing anything at all in the charts. I literally get to the charts, draw some rectangles, play rock, paper, scissors, and flip a coin, and then I'm done with my analysis. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to take a quick little look here at exactly what I do. So let's go ahead and just, we're going to share some screens here. I'm going to be looking at some stuff here. Let me make sure I don't get anything inappropriate pulled up here on my little thing. So I open up the TradingView charts. This is the first spot I go to, and this is really all I really need. So TradingView charts, and I go to the daily time frame. Start at the top from all my pairs. I look at the Forex majors. That's what I look at. And I'll just draw horizontal support resistance zones, okay? That's how it all begins. It all begins with the horizontal support and resistance zones for me. Now, there's many ways to trade, okay? It's cool. If you trade smart money, liquidity, bank manipulation, order block, Wagyu beef, bullish, Kobe steak, candlestick patterns, I'm cool with that. Just make sure that you keep it in a simplified way where you can consistently do the same thing and where you can actually track the metrics of what you're doing to get consistent, predictable results. Otherwise, trading is just a nightmare. You do inconsistent things, you change your strategy every week, or in some cases every other day, and you have no consistency or predictability. Here's what I do literally every time. So I go here to the daily chart. We're here on the glorious daily chart, and then I'll look at where current market price is, and I'll just draw two zones. One above price and one below price, and that's literally it. So we have one right here on Euro GBP daily chart. I have a support zone right here and a resistance zone at the top. Now you can use zones like this, or you can use lines, whatever it is. I typically just use these zones, and you just draw the next clear support zone, and you just draw the next clear resistance zone. Nothing sketchy where price bounces through it over and over like that right there. Nothing like that. I never say never, right? But I don't typically draw zones like that. I like seeing stuff where price is pretty clearly defined, bouncing at an area of resistance. Sometimes it's okay if there's like one spike outside the area, but in general, I want it to be an area where prices consistently bounce, because if prices consistently bounced there in the past, it's likely to consistently bounce there in the future. Not financial advice, just my opinion and my personal experience seeing this stuff happen over and over and over the years. So with this being said, I'll start with drawing these little zones right here, and then I'll just set two alerts, one at the next zone and one at the next zone. So this, you'll see I have an alert just before the next zone. That's because I'm actually already in a trade here on Euro GBP. I'm in a short position right now. So if price gets out of this little, like, where it's trending downwards, then I'm probably going to look to manage the position. But for now, I'm in this trade, and it's looking good. Hopefully we'll get a big drop down here. I'll make like 5 grand. Now another one, CHF-JPY. So I'm going here. I start with the zone on top, so current market price, a resistance zone above price, and then a support zone below price. Now, I don't really know where the next clear support zone is. I'm going to draw it kind of like this and extend it back up here to include these wicks as well. I really don't know exactly where this zone is at, so it's probably not going to be something that I look to trade off of, just because I don't want to get like an inconsistent trading decision. But for now, I'm going to set an alert right here around the middle of the zone. When I draw these zones, I typically just draw them, then I set the alert in the middle. That way when price gets there, it's not like barely gotten into the zone, but it's also not, you're not waiting for that deep push all the way into it either. About halfway, about the midway point is where it's like, all right, it's probably worth a shot to start looking for some trades if price can, start bouncing there at that area. So that's it. And you really don't need many time frames for this. I typically just use daily. I'll glance at 4 hour, 1 hour. All my stuff is based on the daily, just because that seems to be where price bounces most of the time. So Euro Canadian dollar, we've got current market price. I don't really see any clear zones above and below price. The only one I see below price is this support zone here. It's a little ways away. I don't know if we'll see that zone get hit this week. Aside from that, I mean, it could be continuing the uptrend. It could have broken out of the uptrend. It could be a resistance or support zone somewhere up here. I don't know. When I don't know, guess what I do? I just don't draw the zone. I don't take trades. I don't make trading decisions on stuff that I don't really, where it's like not really clear. So for this right here, I'm just going to leave this chart this way. And if it gets to this support, I'll look to buy. But for the resistance, there's nothing clear. So it's like, leave it alone. USD CHF, I was waiting for this last week, and I still am waiting. I've gone here to the daily chart, and I've done the super complicated trading analysis of drawing a resistance zone above price. Yes, that's right, folks. Super, super crazy, super hard, super difficult. Support zone, it was 3 times support. Broker retested as resistance. it's just likely that if price comes back there to touch that zone again, it's just likely it'll bounce. So essentially, you know, in essence, something like this is what I'm waiting for. For it to come up here, I'll sell, and then if it bounces, I'll make a profit. And if it doesn't, if it goes up above, I'll manage the trade somehow. I'll close a partial position. I'll close the full position at a loss. Maybe I'll put a stop loss. Maybe I'll put a hedge order in place to get hedged if it breaks above. The risk structure kind of depends on the specifics per trade, and I won't get into the specifics right now. I've got plenty of other videos on my YouTube channel about this. GBP USD. We've got a resistance zone above price and a support zone below price. And this is an interesting one because I actually shared this last week in my free Telegram channel where I shared daily all my analysis and trades and everything for free. And I'll literally show you right now. It's actually the first link in the description you can click after you watch this video. Just watch this video, that way you know how I kind of set up my charts for the week. But I'll copy this link. I'll go here to my free Telegram channel. And this is all I do. Check it out. I post this right here. And I post like GBP USD, and that's it. I'll put like one sentence or less, and I'll just share the analysis. That way you can see exactly what zones I'm looking for and what trades I'm looking to take in this and that. First link in the description. After you finish this video, you can check it out. So if price comes down to here, I'll look to buy, and if it pushes up to this resistance, I'll look to sell. It's that simple. There's really not a lot to it. Like, it's just price goes up or down. Same thing here, Euro, Japanese yen. I've drawn a support at this next support zone where I think it might bounce. Same thing at this resistance zone. Now, either outcome could occur. I personally think it's going to go to the resistance zone. Just my intuition, experience speaking for the past 7 years of seeing this shit over and over. But it could also come down here to this support. And if it does, then I'll look to buy right there. New Zealand dollar JPY. If you'll look right here, when I try to find a support zone, I don't really see anything clear. If you try to draw some shit like that, it's breaking back and forth through it. That does not look like a zone that we want to take home to mom and dad, kids. This is not something that we want to bring home to the parents. This is the type of zone that we just want to like delete off the chart and then just like not really look at it and not really pay a lot of attention to it, because it's just going to lead us down that bad path. And then we're going to have to be calling our parents to bail us out of jail the next morning because that zone's going to get us into a lot of trouble. Instead, we need to wait on the next clear resistance zone, which is up here. That's what I do. You do whatever the hell you want. Not financial advice. Entertainment purposes only. Shouldn't listen to some bald guy yelling at you on the internet in a YouTube video. NZDJPY, waiting on the next resistance zone. AUD Canadian dollar. Now, I took a trade here last week that I lost. I lost like $1,000 on this trade. $1,200. Very painful. When I'm right, I'll make 3 to 5K though. Yeah, so it's okay. It's whatever. But still, price broke this support zone, and when it came back to test this zone, I sold thinking it would bounce out as resistance. Now, it's crazy because whenever you're trading Forex and stocks and crypto, it's this weird thing where you're not going to win every time. This really weird concept of the fact that nobody's right every time and nobody has a 100% win rate. So this happens to me regularly. I win about 50% of my trades, and then I lose the other 50%. Meaning when I lose, I'm wrong half the time and I'm right half the time. Now, why am I wrong half the time and right half the time? It's this weird thing called random chance. When you enter a buy or a sell, what can happen? It's probably not going to go sideways forever, so that's out. Price is probably literally just going to go up or it's going to go down. So if price goes up or down, there's a 50-50 chance that you will be right or wrong, assuming that you're taking an average of a 1-to-1 risk reward per trade. Now, the only way that I'm profitable is to try to make a little bit more money when I'm right as compared to the amount of money that I lose when I'm wrong. And I will do this through a variety of risk structures and dynamic position sizing to make sure that like on the good trades, I'm in a little bit heavier as terms of volume. And then on the trades that are like okay and they're still worth taking, but they're not as like good bring home to mom and dad trades, I'll risk a little bit less on those, or I'll start scaling out of them if they break the zones. That way when I lose, I can lose smaller amounts, but when I'm right and I win, I can hold on to those winners and make bigger wins. It's the same thing whether I'm using stop losses or hedging or anything at all. Make a little bit more money when you're right versus the amount of money you lose when you're wrong. That's literally the only reason I'm profitable. But I got a 50-50 win rate. I'm nothing special. I'm right half the time and I'm wrong half the time. The only way I'm profitable is because I manage risk. And since it's so damn simple, you know, I look at some fucking rectangles on the chart and I think price is going to go up or down. I draw some stupid arrows. I buy at support. I sell at resistance. That's it. I typically don't even wait for rejection most of the time because it's just going to go up or down. Now, what could happen here on AUD Canadian dollar? I think we could come back into this zone. And if we do, I'm going to look to buy. And then if we push up here, we'll make a nice profit. And if it breaks this zone, you know, I'll lose again, probably another $1,000. That'll be very, very, you know, unfortunate. But, you know, those are the stats. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. If I'm right about this trade, I might make like 3, 4, 5 grand. But if I'm wrong, whatever. It's okay. Life goes on. I'll cry in my closet and just, it is what it is. So Euro USD, very simple, right? We're on the daily chart. Next big support is down here, in my opinion, 1.05 area, or a little bit above that. And the next resistance is up here. That's it. Current market price, support and resistance, and just set 2 alerts and just wait for price to get there. It's like not complicated at all, in my opinion. Maybe it's complicated for you. Maybe it's hard for you to just see where prices bounced before. I see a lot of people doing stuff like this, which, it's just the unforgivable sin of drawing really weird, awkward support resistance zones. Stuff like that. Now, if I were to tell you, hey, Frank, whatever the hell your name is, let's say that price gets to a zone and you can risk $10,000 on that zone. And yet you can only get one trade to do this. You have to pick one trade and then you either win or you lose. And if you lose, you give me $10,000. So I want you to pick a shitty zone. But if you're right, then I have to give you $10,000. What would you put your money on? A zone like this where price is broken through it over and over and over? Or a zone like this where price literally almost every time recently, resistance, broke above, tested as support, 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 and then up here is resistance as well. Price got to this area and it's bounced 1, 2, 3, 4 times. You'd probably put your money, if you're a reasonable person like me, which I'm sure you're a completely reasonable person if you're watching this video on YouTube of some bald guy yelling at you on the internet. If you're a reasonable person, I assume you would pick one of these major zones for price to bounce at. So if that occurs and price does get to one of these zones, in fact, you'd probably feel a lot more comfortable risking 10K on that versus a zone like this right here, where it's like, it's kind of hard to define. It could be this, it could be this, and it could be a little bit higher, and you don't really know. Maybe you're just that part. Really, really weird. It's kind of another way I describe this is saying, let's say that I told you to bet me that you have to bet that it's going to rain in the next 1 hour. And if it rains in the next 1 hour, then I give you $10,000. And you're not allowed to check your weather app, and you can't look outside, and you've been locked in a closet all day, so you have no clue. And I just say, just bet me, 10K, it's going to rain in an hour. You might win that bet 1 out of every however often times, 1 out of every 100 times, I don't know. Now, would you feel comfortable betting $10,000 on that? I wouldn't. I would be like, fuck you, I'm not doing that. No, never. That's a stupid, dumbass thing to do. However, if I told you, hey, listen, Charles, I'm making up names here. Listen, Charles, if you bet me that it'll rain at any time within the next 1 month, then I'll give you $10,000 if you're right. But if you're wrong and it doesn't rain at all, even one time, even a little sprinkle within the next month, then you have to give me $10,000. Now, you'd probably feel very comfortable making that bet because the likelihood of the outcome occurring is much higher. I mean, what are the odds if you live somewhere, unless you live in like the Sahara Desert? If you are, shout out to my peeps out there in the desert. What's up? Hope you guys are staying safe. But if you live in any other part of the world, there's usually going to be some sort of rain in most parts of the world within the next month. If you just say, all right, within the next 30 days, is it going to rain at least once? The answer is usually yes in a lot of cases. So you'd be very comfortable making that bet. Say, you know what, I'm going to risk $10,000. And even if you're wrong, if I gave you the opportunity to bet me again, you would still take it because at some point you're going to be right, and you're going to be right way more often than the amount of times you're wrong. In trading, it's the same way. And guess what? You get to decide which bets you take in trading. And you get to decide which bets you take in trading based on how clear the trading opportunity is. Whether you're using fundamental analysis, simple technical support and resistance like I do. I don't even really look at anything else, to be honest with you. I just look at support, resistance, a little bit of price action and candlesticks. That's it. You can use the smart money liquidity order block strategy where you buy at the demand zone and the imbalance with the institutional candle and the banks are manipulating, whatever, all this bullshit that you could like pull out of your ass to try to trade with. Whatever the case may be, there are objectively setups that are just a little bit more clear than setups that are not so clear as it relates to your trading rules. And your job as the trader is to not be a dumbass. And you don't be a dumbass by taking trades that seem to just set up a little bit more clearly, that you think are personally more likely to work based on your experience and your analysis, seeing this stuff happen over and over and over. When you get to be an old man like me, I'm like 28, but still, I went bald early, this trading made me like lose my mind. But when you get to be like me, you've been seeing this stuff for 7 years, you kind of develop an intuition for it. You're like, it's probably not going to work. That is going to work. This is probably not worth taking, or this, I should wait for price to get there instead. There's all this stuff that goes into it. You're going to get it with experience, so you just keep on going. Not guaranteeing you anything. All right, GBP JPY. So current market price is right here. I'm a little bit under 172. It's kind of confusing because the white price line is up there, but the spreads are down here. So who the hell knows what this is doing? Now, I was in a sell position up here, but then I closed the sell position at break even, actually in small profit twice, based on how the candles closed. Now, here's where my original zones were, okay? I had a zone right here, and then I had a zone up here. Now, here's my simple, actually, no, we'll just say super complicated trading analysis. Price got to the resistance zone, and I sold. That was the whole analysis. Price got to the resistance zone, and I entered a sell position. Why? It's bounced there before, had a big bounce, 2-3 times before. I thought it might be likely to bounce again. Sue me. I thought it was going to go down at resistance. Now, here's what happened. The first daily candle closed into the zone. I entered a sell. Second daily candle pushed up and closed like that, so I closed it. Next daily candle started to go down, and so I entered another sell the second day. And then when it started pushing back up that same day, you can look at this little ping pong stuff it did. Entered a sell, went down, came back up, closed at break even, started going back down, entered a sell. When it started coming up, I closed at break even, started coming back down afterwards. It's back and forth movement. The fact that the daily candles are closing like this, it makes it look like it's not going to work. You know what I mean? If price was going to go down, it would just hit the zone and go down. By God, it will hit the zone and there will be a bear candle and price will go down and you will either be right or you will be wrong. The fact that this is happening where it closed into the zone, then we got a bullish candle and then another bullish candle, it just makes it look like it's not going to work, so whatever. Break even twice this week. So with that being said, I'm not looking to take any trades here on GJ. Let's do a little bit of market analysis here and see if there's another zone. I don't really see another zone because the zones are really far back. If anything, this could be a little zone here on the daily, but it is also kind of spaced kind of wide. I'm just not going to use it. I'm going to focus on current market price. What would be most likely to play out this week is for price to just continue above this zone, murder everyone who's short, and then a little retrace back here to the zone. If that happens, I'll look to buy. So that's what I'll be looking for on GJ this week, villains. And I'll go ahead and I will post this here in the free Telegram channel, which you can join after this video by clicking the first link below. There's like 48,000 people in here, so feel free to follow that. I've been posting stuff in there for like 5 years since I got profitable in the summer of 2018. Well, that's actually probably like 6 months after I got profitable. But still, you get the point. It's really, really nice. It's a really cool Telegram channel. I've been doing it for years. 80 New Zealand dollars. So we got current market price here. I think price is going to break below this zone just because we've tested this zone and we failed to bounce. This is one of the proverbs of Nick Sean that I've said for years. Actually, no, I think I made it last year in a YouTube video. I said it and it rhymed and it was really cool. And here's the proverb. The more a support resistance zone is tested, the less likely it is to be respected. Repeat after me, my child. The more a support resistance zone is tested, the less likely it is to be respected. Put it in the comments, my child, so that we can have an inside joke. The more a support resistance zone is tested, the less likely it is to be respected. Now, what do I mean by that? I just mean like if recently prices, it keeps banging into a support zone, for example, this is a support zone. If price keeps testing it over and over, like it's trying to go up, makes a lower high, tries to go up, fails to break the high, trying to go up again, had a daily candle close into the zone. The more it gets tested in a very, very recent manner, the less likely it is that it's going to bounce. It's more likely to break. So this has been tried to bounce here, it tried to bounce here, here, but we cannot really sustain an uptrend. So it just looks like it's going to get killed. It's like when a bouncy ball bounces, it'll bounce first real high. The second time it'll bounce a little bit lower, and then lower, and then lower until the bouncy ball stops. Unless, of course, the bouncy ball is in fact the current market price of AUD NZD, in which case it'll fucking break the zone and go all the way down here to the next zone. And you better have a stop loss if you're in a buy or a pending hedge order, or have spaced your position out large enough so that way your invalidation is maybe below the next zone and you can add another buy at the next zone. I don't know. Wear a condom every time whenever you're trading AUD NZD and trying to buy at a zone that's already failed to bounce like, what's this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times. So I think price is going to continue down. This is what I'll be waiting for this week. And look at how simple my analysis is. It's just there's one little fucking rectangle thing here. There's a little arrow. I'll go ahead and drop this in the free Telegram channel just so that you can see after this video. Very, very straightforward. It's like I said, it's just rectangles and arrows and a little bit of magic juju looking into my crystal ball. I should get like a purple crystal ball for these videos. GBP AUD. Now, price can do one of two things, right? Let's not be mystical or magical here. Price can go up or price can go down. And what do I think is going to happen? I don't really know. I'm just not going to speculate because I don't really care to. Quite honestly, it doesn't even matter what the fuck I think is going to happen because I'm wrong half the time. All that matters is that I follow my simple system, which dictates that in general, there's a lot of nuance and context that goes into this, but in general, when price gets to a resistance, I'll look to sell, and when price gets to a major support, I'll look to buy. I know some people will draw a zone like this and say, but Nick, what about that support? You do whatever you like. Cool. That's whatever. I just don't like zones where it's not really clearly defined. It makes it way harder to manage the risk because then you got to wait for a deep test in the zone and sometimes it won't happen. And even if you're right, it'll pin past a little bit, but it will still be valid. And there's just all this bullshit that happens. I just prefer to not play that game of like stupid zones. I prefer to have a really clearly defined area to get in and out at. And this will vary depending on the trading opportunity for me. So am I going to look to buy this? No, I'm not going to look to buy this. However, I do think that it's more likely to come to this next zone, but I won't be doing anything unless price gets to that next zone and then starts to bounce away. And look, you copy this link, real simple, and then drop it in here, GBP AUD, and boom, simplified analysis. When you guys are following my trades in the free Telegram channel, if you do, you probably shouldn't follow some random guy on the internet, with no track record, a demo guru flexing on his millions with his YouTube channel with the word millions in every single title. Probably shouldn't follow me at all. Past results do not predict future. My track record of growing accounts over and over and posting them live here on YouTube for everyone to see. If you'll call that a track record in the first place, you shouldn't rely on that for future results. You're probably going to lose money too. So just don't listen to anything I'm saying at all right now. This is all ridiculous. But if you are for some reason going to listen to everything that this random guy on the internet says, then make sure that you're deciding your own position sizing, your own stop loss areas or pending hedge areas, your invalidation zones, your take profit targets, and also keep it simple. Like we're selling out resistance. Just don't be an asshole. Make sure you're not like putting in a 10 lot right there on a $1,000 account and then saying a prayer to your God that you think it's going to bounce. Just make sure you're not doing any of that stupid shit. Make sure that you're kind of like doing everything in a structured way. And if you don't know what you're doing, use a demo account first for like 6 to 12 months and just get experience seeing it over and over. Experience will be your best teacher. Certainly way better of a teacher than some random bald guy yelling at you on the internet. Let's continue the next pair. AUD USD. If you looked at prices in a range right here, there was a resistance above price and a support below price, and I have an alert at the support and resistance. Not hard, in my opinion. Not financial advice. GBP NZD. So I had two alerts up here. Let's restructure everything. I'm going to remove all the drawings from this chart. I'm going to delete both of these alerts. And we're going to start from scratch. And if this is going to take me at least 45 minutes to be able to do the analysis for this one pair. So pay attention because we got 45 minutes ahead of us of analysis. You ready? We'll start the timer now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I'm done. Actually, I'm not done. I got to set the alerts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, cool. Now I'm done. 10 seconds. There you go. GBP NZD, 10 seconds worth of analysis. I don't really see any other clear support resistance zones above or below price. We do have this zone down here where price could bounce. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll say it was another 5 seconds. So 15 seconds in total of analysis. This is the zone where price is currently at. I just don't think it's going to bounce because we already bounced here and we made a lower high. I think this is just more likely to break below. So since it's more likely to break below, I will then delete this zone and then I will delete this alert and then I will now have this structure. So another 5 seconds, so 20 seconds, 20 seconds of total analysis, folks. Round of applause for Nick Sean keeping things ridiculously simple. I mean, unless 20 seconds is too long for you, in which case you probably pursue something else like, I don't know, selling drugs or something. If this trading is too hard, you can't do 20 seconds to draw some rectangles and an arrow on your chart. I don't know. Maybe don't follow me. GBP New Zealand dollar. I think it'll come down here to this next zone and then bounce. This zone I do think is pretty clear. Resistance over and over, broke above. Support over and over, broke below. Resistance 1, 2, 3 times, broke above. Support twice. This one looks like a pretty clear zone we can bring home to mom and dad. A zone that I would risk 10K on. Actually, I'd probably only risk 5K on this. It would like be structured something like this where it's like an entry there, a stop loss there, a target here. And then if it starts breaking the zone, I would either hedge, meaning enter a sell order if I'm going to buy, and then wait for price to maybe become more stable, maybe become a retest, or I would just either close it at a loss. Then I would lose maybe like $1,000 or $2,000 instead of 5K. But if I'm right, it'll bounce straight to the target, and I'll make like 5K. So again, I'm right half the time and I'm wrong half the time. You know, price just goes up or down. It is what it is, my sweet children. So we're going to copy the link to this image and we're going to go to GBP New Zealand dollar. We're going to post this here and we are chilling. So this is pretty good. Pretty good so far. NZD USD. Price is going to go up or down, support resistance. I'm going to start flying through these now since y'all get the point. It's really simple. NZD CHF. I personally think price is going to break above this zone. I don't really see it super clear back in here. Kind of, we'll probably just have to work with this current market price. I see that price is, we've already tried, we failed to make this new low here. Came down and just popped right back above. So, you know, whatever. I think price, since it bounced here and then immediately came back up, I just think it's going to break past. So a better trade will be a break and retest of the support resistance zone. So a break above, retest, and then looking to buy. Where could we take profits? Probably somewhere around these highs. It's going to be a while for price to get to those highs, so I'm not really going to, I'm not going to set an alert just yet. I'll just look at this probably next week, see where price is at, and then we will get going to see, you know, what we think is likely to happen. Villains. USD Canadian dollar, 2 zones, 1 resistance, 1 support. I've chosen to put my support zone really far down here. Some people will do it like that. I just like to include kind of like the extremes of price and then set my alert like somewhere in the middle. So the alert could probably go somewhere like that if we're being realistic. USD Canadian dollar, that's what I'm looking for. Price can go up or down. I don't know. I have no clue what's going to happen. Can also draw this zone up here, which, come to think of this, we did have a nice bounce here, but there's also another really clear one up here. We're going to see what happens, children. If we get back to here, I'm probably just going to delete that one and I'll wait for the next one up there because that looks a little bit more clear. Plus, we've already bounced at this resistance. So, yeah. See, experience talking. Experience and nuance. Get experience. You'll get better with time. I took 2 sells on Euro New Zealand dollar last week and made a ton of profits on this one. We had a great week last week in MFX Close Friends, which is where I share all my analysis and trades, as well as like, you know, we all chat, we all hang out, we do live trading Zoom sessions every day. It's the second link in the description. Those are all the little paid products I offer, trying to, you know, give little bits and crumbs and pieces back to the community. You can check all that, the second link in the description. I called this out. We made little nice profits on this one. This one ended up bouncing right there at the zone. And what was the analysis? Price broke a support zone and tested as resistance, and I entered a sell. That was literally it. There was nothing else. It took probably 7.5 seconds to do. So make of that what you will. I'm looking for price to get down here into this next area, and if it does, I will be looking to buy. I don't think this zone is going to hold as support because we've already tried to bounce here support. We made a higher high, failed the next zone, came back, bounced a little bit, made a lower high. Now we're back here again. I think it's likely to break, and I'm not going to be taking that trade, brothers and sisters. Euro AUD, I don't really see any zones where price is at right now. Some people may argue that this is a zone. It's just not clear enough for me. I don't like that price is whipped past it over and over. I don't want to get whipped myself over here because I'm not into getting freaky with the charts like that. Maybe in other areas of my life, I am cool with getting freaky, but when it comes to this is just not my thing. I am just a little bit nervous and scared of that type of stuff whenever it comes to getting naughty on the charts. I like to be a good boy and take those A+ setups I can bring home to mom and dad. I'm a loyal man, sort of, when it comes to trading, kind of, a little bit. CAD JPY, we've got price coming to a resistance zone right now. I don't know if this zone is going to hold. So far it has. I think that price is also very likely to just continue transitioning upwards into this like little like move right here. So I'm not quite sure what I think will happen. However, it is at a support and resistance zone. And you know what? Whenever you're feeling weird about a chart because you don't know what's going to happen, if you just keep going to the higher time frames, eventually you'll find a reason to tell yourself that you should be in the trade. I'm just kidding. I totally don't do that at all, ever. I didn't do that last Thursday at 8 a.m. on this pair. Not me. That was not me who did that. But price is at a resistance zone. It's either going to go up or down. I think this is likely to go down this week. So if we can get moving, we could have a lot of downside potential on this pair. I think a more safe thing to do would be probably to wait for price to get past like this area right here. And if price can break past those, like these little highs, this little like mini daily zone right there, then it could probably, I think it's probably going to be more likely to do that. So if it like breaks below here, retests and finds resistance there, and then goes down, you know, that would probably be a little bit safer to trade. If you just want to go YOLO, like Lambos all in, then maybe you can sell right now, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Just kind of depends on your risk tolerance and your approach. And you're in charge of doing all that. So, you know, it is what it is. We're going to go down here to the bottom. And let me go ahead and drop this in the free Telegram channel. That way you sweet, beautiful butterfly grasshoppers can get a load of this. CAD JPY. All right, sweet. So then we'll go back here to USD JPY. I don't see anything on this. There is a resistance zone, but it's not super clear, so I'm going to be leaving that alone. NZD CAD, I don't see anything on this. This is why all these pairs are at the very bottom of my list right here. So when it happens like this, I don't look at pairs if they're not anything really clear. CAD CHF, I missed this beautiful setup. This was like about a week ago. Price broke above, tested this as support and bounced. I just missed it. Sometimes I'm an idiot and I just miss perfectly fine trades. I don't think I had this on my watch list. I deleted it because I've got 2 watch lists, day trading and swing, and I think I missed it on one. And very, very unfortunate day for me. Missed out on probably close to $4,000 or $5,000 just for missing this. Very sad, but it's whatever. Hopefully I don't lose all my capital next month. Let's just keep going at it, right? So price came here and bounced, had a nice bounce. What was this? A break or retest of support resistance. I don't have any alerts here yet because if price does come back and test this zone, I think it's more likely to break because we've already bounced there once. The first bounce is usually the best. Second, third, fourth, fifth bounces typically are a little bit more weird because, repeat after me, villains, the more support and resistance zone is tested, the less likely it is to be respected. I typically don't like taking the second, third, fourth bounces of a zone. Every now and then I will take like a second bounce usually, but when it's just recently been testing like the third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, don't take it verbatim, but like in general, I tend to not want to take zones like that. AUD JPY, price could come up here into this next resistance zone and then bounce. I will be looking to take this trade if that occurs. I think that there's a good enough opportunity here to where if it does bounce, we could come all the way back down to around these lows. This is not an area where I'd probably look to buy. I mean, it would kind of depend on what happened. We only really had leakage like pretty much right there, that one low below. But you probably just wouldn't see me holding this that long. That would take, the last time it did that, it was from February 20th to March 24th. That was like a month. Imagine being in a trade for a month. Perfectly fine to do that. And I've been in trades for months, and it's okay. But sometimes it just gets to be a pain in the ass waiting that long. I like to take the little consistent bounces off the zone where price kind of ticks away from it real quick and then it bounces back. Those just seem to work better for me. So that's what I'll be waiting for this week, and I will go ahead and drop this in the free Telegram. Here we go. AUDJPY. I literally share everything in here, so y'all have fun in here. Let me know what you think of the Telegram channel in the comments below this YouTube video. I know sometimes we get some pretty high quality comments there in the comments. They're a lot of fun. People talking about Mrs. Samantha Smith, who they invested $10,000 with and made $50 million in the first 7 days with their Bitcoin account manager people. You'll be careful not to get scammed in the YouTube comments on every video. And that is it. That is it, friends. Nothing on your AUD, CAD CHF. Still kind of waiting. I'll probably sell if we get to this resistance zone again, so I'll just throw an alert right there. Real simple. Just a bunch of arrows that just go onto the chart. And then you just use those arrows and you buy when it's at support and sell when it's at resistance. So again, nothing financial advice in this video. Just me saying, hey, yo, here's what works for me. And that's it. So if you like this video, I'm not going to ask you to subscribe, and I'm not going to ask you to hit the like button, and I'm not really going to ask you to comment, even though I think I might have already done that earlier here in this video. What I'm going to ask you is to do whatever the hell you want to do. If my content helps you and if you think this is useful, other videos on my channel I discuss more in depth my exact trading approach. It's really, my whole channel can be summed up into this. I buy at support and I sell at resistance. And if I'm wrong, I just manage to trade with a risk structure. So like hedging, dollar cost averaging sometimes at the next zone. If the next zone is close, I won't stop out. I'll just dollar cost average in. I'll use a stop loss sometimes. It just kind of depends on the trading. It depends on the trading opportunity. So with that being said, I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of the day. And I will see you in the next video. If you're here for the next video, that will be really cool. I'll make sure that I come to the next video as well. Because I have to, because I'm making the video. So, hope you have a good day. I'm just going to get off now. I really hope you actually have a good day and a good trading week. All right, the camera has now slid all the way to the starting point. Now I'll stop the video. Everyone have a good day. Cheers.